Hello, I am Ezra May, President of the Australian Society of Polish Jews and Their Descendants, the ASPJ. Welcome. Thank you for logging in on this cold Melbourne evening or from wherever you may be. Most of us are probably feeling a range of emotions right now. Overridingly, concern. Concern for family and friends we may have in Israel, sheltering in bomb shelters, and for Israelis and the state of Israel in general, and the state of the world. There's great uncertainty, and we all hope and pray that Operation Lion Rising achieves its aim swiftly, so they can usher in a period of security, peace and calm for Israel and all people in the region, and indeed the world. The ASPJ statement of purpose is to preserve and promote the historical and cultural heritage of Jewish life in Poland, and to foster understanding between current and future generations of Polish and Jewish communities. We try to achieve this through three main areas: hosting events and webinars and fostering partnerships with leading international academics, institutions and organizations, engagement with our local Polish community, and activities on a formal, diplomatic and governmental level. Some of what we do is discreet and out of the public eye, particularly the relationships formed with ambassadors, consuls and diplomatic staff. But we also focus on providing access to world-class webinars and events on a wide range of matters of interest. Most recently, the ASPJ hosted a two-part series, Saved by Stalin, Polish Jews in the Soviet Union and Their Experiences during World War II, presented by ASPJ board member Rita Nash. Some other recent webinars in past months have included Culture Docs from the Festival team in Krakow about the current state of contemporary Polish Jewish artists in Poland today, particularly post-October 7 and the reactions. Jewish Poland and its role in the Ukraine refugee crisis with Poland Chief Rabbi Michael Shudrich. Discovering Your Heritage, hosted by Martin Sheffy, the specialist at Polin Museum. And A Lens on Jewish Poland, a conversation with award-winning photographer Chuck Fishman. All of these and many other webinars are available for viewing on our website, polishjews.org.au, and our YouTube page. As well as webinars, in the last few months we've also hosted a classical music recital of pieces of early 20th century Jewish Polish composers, and an in-person evening with Dr. Michal Trembach, Director of the Jewish Historical Institute, outlining and discussing the JHR collection, including the famous Ringelblum archive from the Warsaw Ghetto. And we also produce a twice-yearly newsletter, Haint, featuring a range of local and international articles of relevance and interest. Tonight our topic is Treblinka, putting names to numbers, presented by Eva Czelzinska-Sawicka and Pavel Sawicki of the Memory of Treblinka Foundation, which were the winners of the 2024 Polin Award. I'm sure I don't have to introduce Treblinka to anyone, particularly for us in Melbourne, where some of us might be familiar with the late Chaim Star, one of the very few survivors of Treblinka, really one of the rare ones. He, of course, made the famous model of the camp, a central feature of the Melbourne Holocaust Museum. Treblinka is synonymous with the German death camps on Polish soil. Most people would be aware that around 900,000 is the estimate Jews were murdered there between 42 and 43. But I would suggest that is about the extent of most people's knowledge, aware of Treblinka, but not really. For so many years, the identities of the victims remained unknown, because there were no survivors of Treblinka, other than really very few. And Treblinka, as we know, was destroyed by the Germans. However, the Memory of Treblinka Foundation, established in 2015, aims to gather and disseminate information about Treblinka by collating existing witness records and survivor reports, and conducting their own historical and archaeological research. And together with the Jewish Historical Institute in Warsaw, they currently have over 108,000 victims' names recorded. So I'll now hand over to Eva and Pavel to take us on their journey.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. We are parents and grandparents, but we have also our professions. I used to be programmer and project manager.
You used to be a doctor.
But in fact, all our life actually is connected with finding names of Treblinka victims, and we would like to tell you about this project. We are very glad that we can do it for you. Our presentation is going to be divided on 5 parts.
Short parts.
Yeah. First is a few words about foundation, then few words about Treblinka. Perhaps it's not everybody knows about it, but well, we would just would like to repeat some words. Then few words about our projects, and then we'll tell you about our main project, which is Book of Names. And in the end, about the new project, oncoming project, Wall of Names in Treblinka. Okay, let's start. The foundation was established in year 2015 by Professor Paweł Śpiewak, but the initiative was of Samuel Willenberg. He was escapee from Treblinka. When he was retired, he was sculptor. He lived in Israel, died a few years ago. But he was a great ambassador of Treblinka. He came to Poland within so many excursions from Israel and so many visitors. And all the time he was complaining that there is no room for visitors, that there's no place they can sit and talk about it, show slides. And he all the time was complaining that there is no real museum built in Treblinka. And there was an idea to create foundation which would be able to create such a building, to create such a museum. It was a bit difficult. So it turned out after a few months that foundation will not be able to do it alone. So we were invited to join the foundation and to continue our work to memorize victims of Treblinka, to preserve the site in some way. We are not alone in the board. Besides us, there are 2 other people, Małgorzata and Roman. There's also Foundation Council. There are 4 people there. Between them is Ruta Śpiewak. She is a daughter of Paweł Śpiewak, the founder, the formal founder of the foundation. But yeah, how started our project? It will be a bit later. Now, few words about Treblinka. This is, as I said at the beginning, maybe not so important for you, but it's unluckily extremely important to tell about Treblinka during practically each presentations in Poland, because we have impressions that Treblinka is, from the one side, one of the most important places in Poland. This is the largest extermination camp for Polish Jews. There is a largest cemetery of Polish citizens from the Second World War. But when you ask people, where is Treblinka? People in Warsaw, many of them problems to determine whether it is close to Lublin, close to other places. It's really not easy for many people to know where is Treblinka. There's a big problem with names of Treblinka victims. Yad Vashem has information about 80% of Holocaust victims, but they know from 900,000 of victims of Treblinka, they know the names of only 100,000, maybe 105, maybe 110, difficult to determine. We have a bit more of them. Why it happened like that? Because there were no lists of people to be transported to Treblinka. There are few such lists. There were some Austrian, Czech, and German Jews which were transported to Treblinka from Terezin. And for them, we have very detailed list. We know where exactly when they came to Terezin, exactly when they left Terezin to Treblinka, nearly all of birthdays, a lot of other details of them, but that's practically all. All the other information, it's 18,000 people. All the other information we have to find out. We have to find in so many different circumstances. I will tell it. Will tell it afterwards. Yeah, Treblinka is here. Is in the east north part of Poland, in the middle of nowhere, in fact. A few words about the history of the site. Treblinka Death Camp was not the first place there. In July 41 was established penal labor camp called Treblinka 1. Most of prisoners were Jews, but as there were also Polish prisoners, sometimes people tell that Treblinka 1 is Polish camp and Treblinka 2 is a Jewish camp. We shouldn't tell like that because, as I told you, in Treblinka 1, most of prisoners, most of victims were Jews. Prisoners of Treblinka 1, but also Jews from the local surrounding little cities, started to construct the Treblinka 2 camp in spring 42. The first transport from Warsaw came on the 23rd of July 42. One day earlier, they started from Warsaw, and then in autumn 41, 42 started a real mass killing when more than 10,000 people were murdered during each day. It's completely impossible to imagine. We had a lesson with Polish pupils, and one of the pupils told me that you told that in Treblinka were killed 900,000 people. It means that each day, Sunday, winter, spring, were killed at least 3,000 of people. But it's impossible to kill more than 500 people per day. So how it was possible to kill so many people? Well, it was possible. It was a really perfectly organized factory of killing, factory of the death. The total number of people killed in year 42 were, according to the German sources, it is the only information which we have, is a bit more than 700,000. Majority of people were killed in 42. In 43 were killed maybe 100,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. On the 2nd of August 43 started a revolt, started uprising, which burned out Treblinka. Well, the gas chambers were built from bricks, so it wasn't burned, and still in the end of August people from Białystok were killed there. But it was practically the end of Treblinka Death Camp. Then the camp was liquidated. People were killed. Some of them were prisoners, former prisoners of Treblinka, were sent to Sobibor and were killed there. To Sobibor to liquidate the Sobibor camp. But the penalty labor camp lasted till July 44, practically till the Russians came to this area. There were only few days gap between the final liquidation of the penal camp and coming of Russians. Our projects, how we started. We started this project in year 2010 when we came with an idea to read the Jewish names and the places where they were living or they were killed. We came to the different places with such an idea, proposing let we read some names, and some people agreed, some people didn't agree. In autumn 2011, first time we came to Treblinka to read once names also in Treblinka. And starting from this autumn 2011, there was not even single last Saturday day of the months where names were not read. Really, each last Saturday of the month, people are coming and reading names in Treblinka. And knowing that, Paweł Śpiewak invited us to Foundation in 2015. So we started also other projects. We created audio guide, Treblinka as a desert. There are practically no help for visitors. So we create an audio guide, which you can download also in Australia and other places, which tells about Treblinka in 4 languages: Polish, English, Hebrew, and German, in 15 sections. There was also a very nice project initiated by Jewish Historical Institute. All of a sudden, Paweł Śpiewak asked us, give us your database. Okay, we gave. And then we've seen the ribbon. The ribbon was at the beginning 2,000 and 4,000 names, all of them we had. And this ribbon was accompanying people which went from the parking lot to the monument. It lasted from 2017 to 2020. Then this ribbon, which you can see on the picture, used to be white, started to be a bit dirty, and they decided to move out this temporary, but beautiful, really beautiful thing. On this picture, you can see the priest Wojciech Lemański.
Second on the right.
Yes.
The first is Paweł.
Yeah, first is me. Priest Wojciech Lemański, he is the initiator of this meetings in Treblinka. He started them 30 years ago, something like this. But from since this 2011, we read this the names really each last Saturday. We read Psalms, a poem of Halina Birenbaum, beautiful poem, Go to Treblinka, which she wrote in 1986. Treblinka, Halina Birenbaum is somehow all the time with us, because she is 96 years old, but we are in contact with her each last Saturday. We send her a message and or call her, and she is all the time with us. We didn't want to repeat the names. We wanted to read all the time new names, and the best way to achieve it is to write down all the names already read. So in such a way, started to grow Book of Names, Treblinka Victims database. And in fact, it started to be the main goal of the foundation. In Treblinka, during this Saturday's meeting, everyone receives a card, not only with name and surname, but also with a short story. And when we hear a few sentences about a given person or a family, we can feel their presence among us for a moment. And this is really very important, and this is why also for many people, this coming to Treblinka and reading those names is important, and I'm sure this project will go on. We are not alone in foundation. The majority of the work is done by us, and as we are exploring internet, we are going to the different archives, and we can do it by ourselves, but sometimes we need money. We need money, for example, for our IT site. We need money for some travels. We need money for translations. And that's why so important are donors. Also, one of them is a member of your group. Thank you, Andrew, very, very much. We have volunteers which help us in our work. This is not easy. For many people, it's too difficult subject to work, but still we have volunteers. We have supporters. Those supporters are really important people who understand how important is the work we are doing. One of them is, for example, Professor Dariusz Stola, who is the chief of the International Auschwitz Committee at the moment. It used to be general manager of Polin Museum, but also other people really feeling that they are somehow behind us is very important. And we have different specialists which work for us. We try to pay them, but for sure their work is worth much more than we're able to pay. One of such a specialists was found by Andrew, and this guy who lives in Bariloche in Argentina, somehow financed by a guy from Australia, working for foundation in Poland. You see full globalization.
And he's excellent translator.
And not only translator,
Yeah.
because he is exploring our database and sometimes suggesting corrections, sometimes find different sources, not only those who are giving to him to translate. So such a people are, without such a people, we wouldn't achieve what we manage. We have different sources. Our super source is Yad Vashem. A bit more, but more than half of our data we have only from Yad Vashem. Yad Vashem is a single and the only source of more than half of the people we have in our database. But there are also leading places of Holocaust research, United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, Arolsen, Terezin, Lochamei Hagetaot, and others were cooperating with really a lot of institutions. But we have also another sources. Memoirs, case of courts, very interesting source. Accounts, interviews, e-score books. Total number of sources is over 500. From one single source, we have about 70–80% of the data is Yad Vashem. From about 100 sources, we have only one person. So there are really different sources. And we have a bit different definition of victims of Treblinka. Because from our point of view, people who are trying to survive, who are trying to escape, who died during the transport and not in Treblinka are also victims of Treblinka. So in our database, as a Treblinka victims, we can find also people who were fighting with Germans when they were forced to go to the train and to Treblinka. People who committed suicide during transport, for example. People who died in the gas chambers. People who were killed in Treblinka. People who were killed because of Treblinka. We put them on our site. You said in your materials that we had 108,000. At the moment, we have nearly 114,000, and we're working on new sets of the data. In preparation, we have approximately 15,000, maybe a bit more. Of people, and we have quite good search engine with such a function which is very important called Soundex, which founds people only using phonetic search. This is also used in Yad Vashem. It helps to find people, even though their names are written in a very different ways, but they sound in a similar way. We don't keep only names and surname. You can see the information about Franciszka Arnsteinowa. There's a quite big story about her. So usually in Treblinka, we don't read such a big stories. Part of such a stories is going to be read. But you can see that a lot of details. One of the very, very important detail information about the person is the family connection. We would like that the people which were separated during the most difficult time in their life, they are at least together in our database. So we put them together. It is very, very important, not only from this, let's say, emotional point of view. This is extremely important if we would like to determine if we are talking about the same family or the new family. when we see that there are two families, their names are a bit different, but the birthdays of the children are exactly the same, ages of parents are exactly the same. So it should be the same family. We don't want to create just big numbers of records in our database. We try to be as fair as possible in our work. So our main work is the database of victims, but we're doing also other things connected to Treblinka. Very important tool, another database. First is fugitives, escapees from Treblinka. People are trying to escape from trains, from the camp during the uprising. Already we have about 1,000 of people. On our site is a bit more than 600. We don't have a time to put this 300 and other people to the database. We will do it, I hope, within coming months, not weeks for sure. Extremely important, and this, I think, there's only a place where there's such a number of founds as we have, is a list of towns, localities where Treblinka victims came from. We have more than 300.
So it's date of transport and number of people and possible number of people in transport.
Yeah, this is so important to have it. Even Treblinka Museum doesn't have it. This is very strange. And now we are coming to our last element of our presentation. This is our dream. But sometimes dreams are reality. We had all the trying to collect the number, this list of Treblinka victims. All the time we're dreaming about the physical monument, about the monument of names, and not only the first names, as it's in Bełżec or in Umschlagplatz, but names, list of names of people who were transported to Treblinka. And such a wall is built right now in Treblinka. From our point of view, this wall of names is a third, till the moment, the missing part of Treblinka monument. The monument of Treblinka consists of several thousands of stones. And those stones have a different symbolism. The monument referring to the Western Wall in Jerusalem. It's commemorating the crime which was committed in Treblinka. Over 2040 at the moment, as I know, stones with names of the cities are the commemoration of the murdered communities. Treblinka is called the cemetery of communities. The wall of names would be to commemorate the murdered people. So far, only one name, Janusz Korczak, is inscribed on one of stones in Treblinka. And we would like to have more than 100,000 names. You can see it's a very small number. It took us 14 years to find these numbers. I'm not sure if we manage to put 130,000 names. Maybe at the very beginning, we hope that this very beginning would be in the middle of 2027, would be 110 at least names, maybe 120. We'll see. But what is very important between those names we would put in Treblinka, there would be about 20,000 names which are not yet in any big database like Yad Vashem. New names, people which were till now not recognized as victims of Holocaust and as victims of Treblinka. So it's very stupid to say that some names are more valid or less valid, but I must say that we are a bit proud that our work not only was to find the names of Treblinka victims, but also to find the new names of Holocaust victims. This wall in Treblinka is not going to be the first one in Europe. There was first such a big initiative was to put the Czechish Holocaust victims' names in Pinkas synagogue in Prague. But the first big wall was in Paris, built in 2005. There are more than 70,000 people in Amsterdam. Beautiful monument created by Libeskind. There are more than 100,000, 102,000 people. In Vienna, there are 60 few thousand people. Treblinka wall is going to be the biggest, but not that is so important that it's going to the biggest. It's going to be the first such a commemoration done in a death camp. This wall in Treblinka is going to consist of 5 rows, 339 columns. Altogether is going to be 1,700 plates. On each plate will be here you can see such a plate created by the architect. You can see a bit more than 40 names. In fact, if we would like to put all the names we have, we must have on each table at least 90 people. There are many decisions which we made already. First decision was that on the wall is going to be name, surname, and age. That we would like to group people into families. We don't want people to be separated between tables. We decided that there will be no alphabetical order on the wall, but each table must be alphabetically ordered. We have a lot of issues to solve. The biggest, one of the biggest issues is spelling of the names of the Polish Jews. From our main source, from Yad Vashem, we have records with so different spelling. We have to. For some people who have documents, so we can take the real name from document, but in many cases we have to find out what is the best spelling of names. We have to find out the best way to search people from the database on the wall, from the wall into database. On the right plate, you can see, right table, this is a picture photograph of the table which was created just as a first try. We made some other tries in Word, just as examples of how it's going to be done. We need a serious artist typograph who will do a real project how those tables will be should look like. Current status of the wall of the names, you can see on the right picture. The previous status you can see on the two other pictures. Those bricks were put on this outside wall. Names are going to be on this inside walls. This inside walls looked at the moment, as you can see on this picture, but these outside walls are like on the right picture already with bricks. And there are a lot of issues which still to be done, still to be solved. One thing which we are trying to underline here and there is the need of extension of this wall of names. This wall of names is about 200 meters long, but it will keep only 1/5 of the names which we will be able to find till the end of our life, let's say. But there's a need to show how this wall would look like when all the names would be on it. We got from different people such a information, such a message. Look, if this wall is going to have only 200 meters, it will be just a falsification of the history, because it would be like you are going to show that in Treblinka were killed only 100,000 people, but in fact there were killed 1 million of people. This wall should be somehow extended. We have to create the application to find names on the wall. We have to think about the information campaign about this wall. We have to prepare educational materials. There's a lot of work to be done. In fact, we are working from the early morning till late night. Sometimes when we are not able to sleep, we're working in the middle of the night. So this project really is time-consuming, effort-consuming, and this is the things which we're really living. Yeah, so this is end of our presentation. At the end, all the time we're asking if anybody of you is able to help us in a data collection. If you have any information about the Treblinka victims, please give us. Maybe we have those people, maybe not. All the time we would be grateful. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Evan. Thank you very much, Pavel, for that expose and that recount of the Memory of Treblinka Foundation. Just go through a few questions that I have for you, if you don't mind. First one is, why is it important to you to remember Treblinka?
So I think that one of the reasons is that the people killed in Treblinka were our neighbors, yes, Polish citizens mostly. So they deserve for our memory.
But there's also
So-
we have, let's say, a bit different drivers. Eva tells more about the memory. From my point of view, it's very important to show how it was possible that the ordinary people in a certain moment started to be part of them killers, part of them victims, and all of a sudden in Europe, in Christian Europe, full of values, it was possible that so many people were killed. Telling about it will help to present to avoid such things in future.
We are not sure.
We are not sure, but we hope.
I was going to ask you, could you explore that for a second when you talked about how you think people, normal people, could kill their neighbors and become such bloodthirsty killers? In your experience, in your research into Treblinka, how do you think that happens?
We have not good answer.
Well, how it's possible? It cannot be done in one step. It is Europe was preparing this mass killing for at least 1,000 years via anti-Semitism, and in the last moment, because people were dehumanized, were treated like worms, like disease, not like human beings. And step by step, Jews were put in more and more separated. Relations were broken between those friends, former friends. So it all of a sudden started to be easy to kill.
So just one step further. So now, if you understand that to be the case, and the further research you do, how does that stop it happening again? Tough question.
Good question.
Unluckily, we can see that it happened again. Already happened. In Rwanda, in Treblinka, a million of people were killed during 1 year. Not full million. In Rwanda, about 1 million of people were killed during 1 month, or a bit more than 1 month. So unluckily, everything is possible. One of the reasons we are working in that was to a dream. Maybe because of our work, world would be a bit safer. No. World was much safer 15 years ago when we started this work.
So just another question that's come through. When you discover the names, is most of that data that you get from other people who survived in Europe and they just knew they lost family members in Treblinka? When you say you have you'll have another 15,000 names, where does that come from?
From various sources, also from the senders, of course. We have on our page is the questionnaire. You can add the name on it. And mostly from documents, I would say. Yeah.
Well, the biggest sources are testimonies, page of testimonies. So Yad Vashem started to collect data in 50s. And they have a lot of millions of records. There's also a big problem for us because for Yad Vashem, all the time, the record in the database was a relation, not a person, relation. So for the same person could be we have experience with person who had 10 different records, 10 different relations. Now Yad Vashem started to combine all those relations into one record, one person, let's say. But all the time we have a problem if those two people, those two records in our database are there are two records of single person or
two different persons.
And of course, we are making mistakes. Just a week ago, I realized that I decided to put together two records, but they were definitely, for sure, two different people. I must do it back.
So another question is, somebody says she was told that her grandparents came from the town of Sokoli, I think Sokoli, and taken to Treblinka. And she has heaps of names from her family members who were killed. But more recently, they think maybe they were shot in the town of Sokoli. So how do you find that out?
That is impossible to find out. It could be on the city, on the train, on the Umschlagplatz, on the Treblinka, in every place, yes.
Yeah, this is absolutely not possible. Well, there are very few cases where we can be absolutely sure that such a person was killed in such circumstances.
Yes, sometimes there are the witness, yes. This is the possibility to find out the real place. But they are the witness.
Also, when we tell about the witness, one of our very interesting source is the data from the court. There we have a lot of witnesses which declared he was killed here and there. I've seen the body. And we know for sure that a big number of those statements are false. People were going to the court asking to declare person as a dead person, and they would like to have a sentence as soon as possible. The best way to get a sentence quickly was to find a witness who would declare, I've seen the body. So we realized that some people were talking to each other before. Please be my witness. I will be yours. You've seen my body. You will see. I will see your body. And so we see a lot of false information in many kind of different sources. It's really detectivist work to determine which kind of information is.
So because it could be big question mark at the end. Yes, it is Treblinka is only a possibility of place of death. Yes, in few cases we are 100% sure that the people died there.
From Yad Vashem, we got for sure more than 1,000 people. We will not put them on the wall, even though that Yad Vashem declares them as a Treblinka victims. But from the other elements of this testimony, we simply don't believe that it was possible. People is not a bad will. People, for many people, Treblinka is a symbol of the death camp. They
the same
knew,
as Auschwitz, yes. The same.
Yeah.
Just the death camp.
Yeah. They felt that their relatives were killed in a death camp, so they put the name Treblinka. But in fact, it was Auschwitz, it was Bełżec, it was other places. So all the time, yeah, one of the really extremely great thing is that we are together, because we all the time ask each other, what do you think about it? Sometimes we dispute. Sometimes when we're unable to find out the best answer, we are calling other people, the judge. Sometimes the judge is my sister. Sometimes the judge is Eva's sister. So, but without such a dispute, it would be so difficult to determine anything. Alone, I will be completely unable to do it. Eva, the same. Together, we are able to do it.
So can I ask you then, how do we know that there was 900,000 victims at Treblinka?
Well, there are a lot of different estimations. Some years ago, Treblinka Museum declared that in Treblinka were killed 912,000 people. I was shocked. We are not able to determine the real number. Absolutely. Some months ago or a year ago, we talked to one of the leading Polish historians who told us that he is convinced that Treblinka is the biggest death camp in the world, that Treblinka is bigger than Auschwitz, that number of Auschwitz are underestimated, especially the number of Hungarian Jews which were killed there, and the number of Polish Jews is in fact much bigger. So the total number of Auschwitz is less than 1 million, and total number of Treblinka is more than 1 million.
Yes, but nobody can be sure.
But nobody can be sure. The absolutely minimum number, if Germans were right, if this German document is correct, was correct, is less than 800,000, is on the level of 780.
Yes, at the end on 22, yeah, on year 22.
No. The general number, the general total number, the absolutely minimum is 780. The absolutely the biggest number which we found was close to 1,300,000. This number comes from the Polish railway man who was counting the figures which were on each car in the train. They were written on with chalk numbers, and those numbers was supposed to be a number of people which are inside. And he was counting them, and his number was close to 1,300,000.
Yes, it seems to be a bit too much. So the real number is somewhere between these two figures.
Mm-hmm. So another question is, people think that most of the victims from the Warsaw Ghetto were sent to Treblinka. Is that correct?
Yes, most of the Warsaw Ghetto people were sent to Treblinka, but about 100,000 died in the ghetto before the deportation.
So that'd be about 400,000 Jews, would it?
Yes.
So. Yeah, well, but number of Warsaw Jews were something like 300, a bit more maybe, 300,000. The maximum through Treblinka, through Warsaw Ghetto went nearly 500,000 of Jews, because a big number of Jews were sent to Warsaw Ghetto from the other places, from the little cities surrounding Warsaw, but also from Germany.
From Austria.
From Austria, not so many. From Austria were sent to Kielce, for example. But I also heard it from France and from Belgium, were also sent to Warsaw Ghetto. And they were in a very poor situation because they didn't know the language. neither Polish nor Yiddish. Yiddish is similar to German, but not exactly. So a lot of them died before the mass killing in Treblinka started.
And just, I can see the time, so just do 2 more questions. When the Germans designed Treblinka, do we know what their plan was? How many they thought they would kill there?
Treblinka were built in spring 42. But Treblinka was not the first death camp. The first death camp was, I think it was Chełmno, Kulmhof. There was the first methods to kill people in trucks. People were put in the trucks and then sent to the burial place, and they were dying on the way. But Treblinka, the mass killing idea of Jews were finally decided in Wannsee conference. It was going to be done in November 41. Finally, it was done in January 42. And during this conference, one guy whose name was Bühler proposed that Poland would be the excellent place for killing Jews, because the biggest number of Jews are in Poland. So there is a shorter way to transport, and the infrastructure easily can be built. And they started to build the new death camps. It was Bełżec, it was Sobibór, and finally the biggest, Treblinka.
Thank you. And the last question is from somebody you're familiar with, Andrew. He says he's very proud to be able to support you in your work. He wants to know, has the work on the Treblinka Museum been completed? And when do you think the first names will go up on the wall of names?
This is a question which unluckily we are not able to answer. We do hope there is a plan which hopefully would be realized, that the museum will be opened in the middle of 2027. Construction is going pretty well at the moment. The building is going to be finished in the end of the year, maybe very beginning
next year.
of the next year. The wall is also constructed, but still didn't started to work to create the main exhibition in Treblinka, which is a real problem. Then there's a very interesting question: when the first plates with names will be on the wall of the names. There is such an idea that the first such a plate can be done still in this year. Maybe it can be realized. We are working like hell to realize this plan.
Yeah, but it not depends on us. Yeah.
Absolutely, it depends on so many decisions that our work is not enough. We are not going to be a blockers. We would be ready with names, but still so much work on many sides.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your explanation of what the Museum of Treblinka on the Foundation does. As you said, it's very important to not only remember the victims just for the victims' sake and out of respect for them, but also so people can be certain, or at least aware of future generations of where things can lead to. And as we said at the very start, it's an uncertain time at the moment, so we all hope and pray for the best around the world and for everybody, particularly the State of Israel. So thank you very much for logging in, and thank you very much for your time today, Eva and
Thank
Pavel.
you very much.
Thank you very much
Thank
for the
you.
meeting. All
Thank
the
you.
best.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.